Greetings to every one of you. So in this video we are going to discuss about another very important concept from operating system, that is shortest job first or next scheduling algorithm using the non-preemptive technique. So first of all, let me explain what this SJF, shortest job first or next, mean. If any process contain only less amount of burst time and that process will be selected by the operating system for the scheduling. So the ready queue contain the list of processes. So the operating system will check only the burst time of the processes. So based on that, the processor will be allocated to these processes. Okay, so the process with the lowest burst time among the list of available processes in the ready queue will get the processor, but till its end of the completion, till the time of completion, the processor will be allocated to the process because it is non-preemptive scheduling. I have taken the same problem what actually we discussed in our previous video during first come first serve scheduling policy. So the same problem is used here. We'll solve this problem, and after that we'll discuss how this SJF it is better than the first come first serve. Okay, so here 5 processes are arrived the different time of interval. So at time 0 the process 2 arrived, and the process 2, its burst time is 2 milliseconds. So since it is non-preemptive, so the processor will be totally dedicated to that particular process at that particular time. Okay, so 2 milliseconds that is required for completion of process 2. So 2 milliseconds that is allocated. The process 2 is over now. Now during this time period 0 to 2, check that if any other process that is entered into the ready queue. So that is process 1 enters at time 2. Okay, the second millisecond the process 1 enters. Okay, process 1 enters at time 2. So that is taken for account, process 1, and its the burst time is 4 milliseconds. So it's 4 milliseconds, that is 2 plus 4, that is 6 millisecond. This is also over. So during this time period, that is 2 to that is 6, we have got all the other processes arrived. So that means P5 arrived at 4 milliseconds, P4 arrived at 5th millisecond, and P3 arrived earlier than that, that is 3 milliseconds. But now here among these 3, just the operating system will compare only the burst time. So which has the minimum burst time, and that will be scheduled first. So comparatively you see that though the P4 arrived at last, but its burst time is very less. So what will happen? The preference will be that is given for the process 4, P4, okay, which need the 3 milliseconds of burst time. So 6 plus 3, that is at 9th millisecond, the process P4 is over. Then the next thing, it is P3 and P5. Just to compare these two, the minimum burst time is 4 milliseconds, that is P3 will be scheduled. So P3 requires 4 milliseconds of time. So 9 plus 3, I mean 9 plus 4, that is it is 13, the 13th millisecond, the P3 is over. Then finally we have this the process 5, which require that is 5 milliseconds of time, P5, that is 13 plus 5, it is 18. So these are this again chart. These are the completion time. So now you can write the completion time from just scanning from right to left. So P5's completion time is 18, and P3 it is 13. Similarly P4 it is 9. Similarly P1 it is 6. Then P2 it is 2. These are the completion time. You know that how to calculate the turnaround time. So turnaround time is nothing but completion time minus arrival time. So 6 minus 2 it is 4. This is 2 minus 0, it is 2. 13 minus 3 it is 10. This is 9 minus 5 it is 4. This is 18 minus 4 it is 14. We can add, so we'll get this is 34 total turnaround time, it is 34. Similarly, calculate the waiting time. So waiting time can be calculated as turnaround time minus burst time. So 4 minus 4 it is 0. Similarly 2 minus 2 it is 0. 10 minus 4 it is 6. It is 4 minus 3 it is 1. It is 14 minus 5 it is 9. Okay. So now we can also calculate the response time. Response time can be calculated as the starting time of the process. Okay, that is the very first time when the processor is allocated to the process. That is the starting time. So for example, for P2 it is 0. Okay, so starting time minus arrival time. So 0 minus 0 it is 0. Similarly for P1 it is 2. 2 minus 2 it is 0. For P4 it is 6. P4 it is 6. 6 minus 5 it is 1. Similarly for P3 it is 9. 9 minus 3 it is 6. Similarly for P5 it is 13. 13 minus 4 it is 9. So very well you know that this particular concept, that is in case of non-primitive scheduling algorithms, both this waiting time and response time always equal. Okay, so that already we discussed in our the previous video, even in the first come first serve, that we discussed. So now if you compare this the calculation part, so how actually this SJF it is better than the first come first serve. If you compare the calculation part, that is the turnaround time and the waiting time, in case of the first come first serve, it was the average turnaround time, it was 37 divided by 5, 37.4 milliseconds. Similarly, the average waiting time in first come first serve, it was 19 by 5, that is 3.8 milliseconds. But as far this algorithm is concerned, actually here the total turnaround time it is 34. So the average turnaround time, it is 34 divided by 5, it is 6.8 milliseconds. And similarly the average waiting time is concerned, it is 16 by 5, so which is equal to 3.2 milliseconds. So now just you can compare this average turnaround time and average waiting time of this SJF with the first come first serve. So it was 7.4, now it is reduced to 6.8. Similarly, the waiting time is also reduced. It was 3.8 in the first come first serve scheduling policy, but in shortest job first it is reduced to 3.2 milliseconds. So the efficiency, it is depends upon how actually the algorithm reducing the waiting time, the average waiting time of the processes. So in that way this SJF, it is better than the first come first serve. So I have explained what is meant by shortest job first or next algorithm, and I gave an example, the same example what actually we have used in first come first serve scheduling policy, and also just we have calculated with the help of the Gantt chart, finding out completion time, the turnaround time, the waiting time, the response time. So, and finally we compare the results of first come first serve with the results of SJF. I hope you understood. Thank you.